What's up, guys? Welcome to the Real American History channel. Today we're going to be reacting to a video on the Battle of Lexington and Concord, battle that started the war. This is by the American Battlefield Trust. I like this channel. They give a great outlook on all the American wars over history. But let's get into it.
By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flags to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmer stood and fired the shot heard round the world. Those words by the American poet and Concord native, Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Right away, they're starting this, setting the tension. This wasn't just a random fighting. This has been building for years. With the taxation without representation on all their goods, and just the Americans weren't okay with it at all.
Get to the crux of what took place here on Wednesday morning, April 19th, 1775, when Patriot and militia units returned fire into the British across the bridge that's behind me, triggering the 8-year odyssey that would become the American War of Independence, also known as the American Revolution. Issues like taxation, representation, respect were at the core of the struggle, and nowhere more was that felt than here in Massachusetts. In early April 1775, Governor General Thomas Gage, commander and military governor of Massachusetts, decided he needed to take action to diffuse the hostile relations between the countryside and the city of.
Yeah, see, the British wanted to seize the arms and powder from the colonials because they were having a lot of tension going on in Boston at the time. So they kept their stores right outside of the city limits in Lexington, Concord, uh, places north of the city as well.
Boston. At 10 p.m. on April 18, 1775, Colonel Francis Smith and his adjutant, Major John Pitcairn, lead 800 troops west from Boston. Objective: Concord. Seize the weapons, seize the munitions, return them to Boston, and put an end to colonial hostility. By 5 o'clock in the morning, they are on the verge of reaching the town of Lexington. But express riders, including Paul Revere and William Dawes, had gotten out ahead of them to spread what became known as the Lexington Alarm, arousing the country.
That's funny. You just got to think about how important communication was back then. One rider warning an entire town. It's basically 1775 group chat. Um, it's just nowadays you could just send a single text or whatever. But
Countryside, raising shot, having bells rung, so that Patriot and militia and Minuteman groups could form and could react to the British presence. 70 Minutemen, under the command of Captain John Parker, gather at Buckman's Tavern in Lexington, adjacent to the Green. At 5:30, they get word that the British are in sight. Parker takes his men out of the tavern, crosses over the Green, lines his men up in 2 rows deep, 70 men total, not blocking the road, merely standing there to show their defiance and their anger and hostility. Parker was not looking for a fight. The fight, rather, came to Parker as the British troops came on, entered the Green, and faced off against Parker and his men. Parker recognized that he was outnumbered.
right, Parker recognized that, but also they didn't really want to fight. They just wanted to stand up to them to just so that they wouldn't look like pushovers. It's important to notice, recommend, or that no one knows who fired the first shot. It's uncertain. No one knows what happened at all. It's one of those unknown things that we'll never know the answer to. But it totally changed the course of the world, and we know that today.
But he did tell his men, stand your ground, don't fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here. But a shot rings out, and nobody's sure where that shot came from. And the British instinctively fire a volley. 17 fall, either wounded or killed. By the time the British reach Concord at 9 in the morning, Patriot units, militia units, Minutemen units from towns like Acton, Sudbury, Lincoln, Bedford begin.
It's important to note that 8 colonists were dead in minutes. That's when the tension turned into a full-out war.
To converge here. They can see the smoke curling from the town of Concord. The British are burning the guns, the carriages that they found. They've cut down the Liberty Pole. They're burning that too. But it looks to the Minutemen that the town is being fired, and it is decided to march on the town and either die defending it or die trying to defend it. At the head of the band of Minutemen that is going to march on the bridge, he turns to Isaac Davis, the 30-year-old popular captain of the Acton Minutemen, and asks Davis if his men are ready to take the lead. Davis says, "I haven't a man that's afraid to go." The British initially hold a ridge across the river on the western bank, but as soon as they see the numbers, they know they're outnumbered, and they pull back across the bridge, tearing up planks as they retreat. As the Patriot units near the bridge, a volley breaks out, and Davis and several of his men are hit and fall. Davis, mortally wounded, shortly thereafter dies. From the back of the line runs Major John Buttrick of Concord saying, "For God's sakes, men, fire! For God's sakes, fellow soldiers, fire!" And the Americans unleash a volley into the British. That's the shot heard around the world. British troops fall, and the British flee the bridge in panic, heading back to Concord. But it is going to be one hell of a return march for the Minutemen who...
Yeah, definitely. The British took a lot of beating heading back to Boston. The colonists came from everywhere, every direction. They swarmed them like wasps, firing from all directions, from their back, from their front. British took a lot of casualties heading back to Boston.
know the area have now raced to outflank the British and to meet them along a road that will take them back to Boston. The British are stunned. They're now being fired on by thousands of Minutemen who have converged from 27 towns, and for the next 6 hours, it is a running gunfight between the British and militia and Minuteman units, and nothing has been the same on this planet since. And so began the arduous 8-year journey of the American Revolution and War for Independence.
And just like that, 13 colonies are on a collision course with the British Empire. One morning that changed the entire world. Uh, it's crazy how history can turn in a single moment like that. Um, there was no great speech by one of our leaders or anything. It was just confusion, tension, and a shot that basically started the American Revolution. But thanks for watching, guys. If you could smash the like button, subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.